In the follow up to Kingdom Under Fire 2, basically Link and Zelda are king and queen of the kingdom. You know, he would start off as their teenage son. You know, being selected to be in the royal guard. You know, some sort, or you would be basically starting your training. You know, and Link and Zelda would be way older. You know, and you would see the effect of age. You know, and they would be telling their son, you know, you're of age. It's about time you start learning about combat, and 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 we need you to be part of the royal guard to invade the enemy forces. You know, and basically you would be undergoing a training. You know, learning the game mechanics and stuff, learning swordplay and stuff. You know, as a teenager. You would be picking up your first sword, and Link would hand over his son the Master Sword. He would be giving the Master Sword to his son, you know, after his training is complete. As here's my sword, son. You know, use it well. You know, as kind of thing, and you would progress on the map, on the enemy map, and fight off enemy territory. Take you know, clear dungeons or sections of the map. You know, and at the end of the game, you would command the troops to invade their fortress. Yeah, you would be a general at the end of the game after you progress through the story, ranking up in rank or climbing the ladder. You know, within the royal guard, you would end up being the general of an army and invade their castle. Yeah. Basically, those are my ideas for the next few Zelda games. You know, I don't know if Nintendo would like my ideas, or if there's a way I could contact Nintendo, you know, to share my ideas, or maybe GTF2 would be able to contact them and send them my videos. You know, I don't know if there's a way we could contact Nintendo. Yeah, I would love to share them my ideas, you know, because I would make very great Zelda titles. You know, and they could even be the first Zelda games that are T-rated. You know, not mature rated, but T-rated. You know, a little more action in the game. You know, it would still sell, still have puzzles, still, you know, you would still design puzzles throughout the dungeons to, you know, and you know, I don't know what kind of dungeon we could do or puzzles, but that's up to Nintendo. They're crazy, right? You know, they can work it out. You know, based on my ideas, they could work out dungeons. You know, puzzles in the dungeons. You know, kind of like Breath of the Wild has 120 dungeons, right? But in these games, you know, you would be clearing enemy camps or something. You know what I mean, and closing portals to their homeworld. Yeah. You would have to go clear the dungeon of enemies, yeah, on their homeworld of some sort, yeah. There would be some sort of interdimensional being, yeah. Basically, you know, we could start off the follow up still in Hyrule. You know, you would train in Hyrule, and you would enter a portal that they would have created to go to their homeworld. Yeah, and would then go to that new map, you know, kind of thing, and troops, you know, would command troops to basically, you know, take down their camps or buildings or you know, parts of their territory. Yeah, you know, I'm not 100% sure how the follow up would work out, but you would play as their son. Yeah, at the end of Kingdom Under Fire, the game ending scene, you know, you would simply see 2 years later. And then it would appear Zelda is holding a baby after childbirth, and a doctor's present, and Link is there all proud, and they hug, and you know what I mean, and they're a family, right? You know, and in the follow up, Link and Zelda are king and queen in Hyrule. They are very old. You know, at that point, they're wrinkly and stuff, and they're telling their son, you are now of age. It's his birthday, right? It's their son's birthday. He's like 16, right? And it's now time you learn to face combat and train to be a royal guard. You know, you are of age. It is your duty to fight for our kingdom. You know, basically that's what Link would tell his son. You know, and Zelda would say, "Please make me proud, son," kind of thing. And you would start to learn combat mechanics for that game. Yeah, you would start to learn combat mechanics as a teenager. Yeah, you are just coming of age, and the battle would have waged on in between titles. You know what I mean. The battle would not have been over at the end of the first title necessarily. The kingdom, the nation, the Fire Nation would simply still try to keep invading Hyrule for some reason. Yeah. Over time, but Hyrule remains strong, yeah, kind of thing. Basically, the follow-up you would start as a training as you're coming of age, and you're learning swordplay. Basically, you would start with a wooden sword, kind of thing. And learning the fighting mechanics, basically learning swordplay and stuff, how to dodge, how to block with your shield or your sword, how to attack, how to do a barrel roll, stuff like that. The follow up might be more traditional format of Zelda games, yeah. For example, typical fighting mechanics, and you would not have a companion, but you would report, somehow to Link and Zelda throughout the game, via a tablet, maybe. The technology would have advanced over time. Yeah, they would have phones. They would basically have some sort of phone system, and you would call your parents and tell them, how you're progressing through the game. Yeah. That's what I would do. You would have a phone, and basically you are next in line to the throne. You are a prince. You are a prince, and it is your duty to learn to fight along with your troops. Yeah, as you are getting ready to become a king one day. Yeah, Ronan or Roman, it would be his name or something like that. Yeah. That would be quite a few interesting titles, yeah. You would have Kingdom Under Fire, and Kingdom Under Fire 2 would happen 16 years later after the end of the game. As Roman would be coming of age, and Link and Zelda are very old, and they are still king and queen, of Hyrule Castle, but they want their son to take part of the battle that wages on still with the Fire Nation, yeah. You are coming of age, and you're starting to learn combat mechanics and stuff. The mechanics of the game, you are learning the mechanics of the game. You would still have the same basic elements as, for example, Breath of the Wild, but you would be invading their territory, yeah. And maybe even design new enemies, new animals or stuff, their version of goblins or Lynels or stuff like that. Yeah, they would have unique variants of Zelda enemies. Yeah, in their home world, they would have unique enemies, creatures and plants and we could even design a portal system back and forth between Hyrule and the Fire Nation's capital, for example. You would be maybe able to return home to report to troops or somehow. I don't know. It's up to Nintendo how they would work out these titles. I'm sharing my ideas. Just in case Nintendo would hear a whiff of it. I hope GTF2 would maybe contact Nintendo for me. Maybe give them a phone call. Tell them I think this guy has some great ideas for Zelda games. And maybe they would even be T-rated Zelda games. Yeah, the first Zelda games to reach a higher, because they would be a little more graphic, but still, a teen rating. Not blood or anything, but there would be a lot more action in these two titles. Yeah, there would be a lot more action. Still has some minor puzzle solving, but it would be more action-oriented Zelda titles, in my opinion. Because it would still sell as a T rating, yeah. kind of be a bridge between E and mature would be teen. So the titles themselves would still have an interest to adult Zelda fans. You know what I mean. It would be interesting, and it's up to them to figure out how the puzzles and the level design and the map and stuff. It's up to them to figure out the mechanics. As they go. But in the follow-up title, yeah, you would command troops to follow or cover you, or kind of like how Link would order Zelda, in Kingdom Under Fire. The follow-up, you would have companions, or be able to select, certain royal guards to be your companions and fight the enemy, yeah, and issue commands, attack or or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you would be, you would be progressing in the follow up and becoming a general and leading the rebellion, leading the fight to their territory. Yeah, you would be earning rank throughout the title. You would climb in rank. The more caps or the more enemy territory you gain, you simply climb in rank. And at the end of the follow-up, you would be again invading their fortress, and basically lead the fight to them. Invade the fortress and defeat a new end game boss. And she would happen to be female, I guess. The enemy's daughter maybe. And she would be very powerful for some sort. And the worst part about it is I would do, it's when she's defeated, not kill her. She would be simply defeated and captured, and somehow, to end the game, the Fire Nation and Hyrule would simply merge. They would do a peace treaty, and maybe possibly Roman would marry that boss. Yeah. Ending the war between these two nations, unifying their since he is a prince, he would end up, through marriage, ending the war kind of thing. Yeah. He would capture her and she basically they would basically fall in love at the end of the game after the fight. Yeah. Somehow, not necessarily, it's up to Nintendo to figure that out, but that's what I would do. Yeah. They would end the conflict through marriage in style, yeah. Basically, the Prince Roman would marry the Fire Nation's new leader at the end of the game, and she would be female, yeah. Therefore, ending the war between these two nations, and they would do a peace treaty, yeah. That would be the ending of the game. They actually end up signing a peace treaty of sorts, and decide to work together at the end of the game scene. The game ending scene, yeah, and she is basically now his wife, yeah. That's what I would do, yeah. They would still possibly have a boss battle, but she would not be killed. She would be comical throughout the boss battle and flirt with him as too bad you're the enemy's prince. You're hot. You know what I mean. Like she would be flirting with him throughout battle, and instead of killing her or something, they end up kissing somehow because she would happen to be very attractive. You know what I mean. And oddly enough, that's how the game would end. Basically, these two would pair and would sign a peace treaty, ending the war. Yeah, that's what I would write. That's what I would do. Yeah.